All right. So first, before we go ahead and get started, I just want to give everybody, thank everybody for attending here this evening. I want to give everybody an idea of what we're going to be discussing here this evening. Some of this information may be new if you're a transfer student or if you're a high school freshman, sophomore, junior, just trying to get some information to see if nursing might be a good fit. I know we have some students that have applied and been admitted and are trying to finalize decisions. So what we want to do is just provide as much information as possible for all of you, regardless of wherever you're at in that stage. So before we get started, we'll go ahead and let Dean Halsey welcome everybody, and then we'll go over the run of the show. So Dean Halsey, if you want to go ahead and welcome everybody.
I am happy to do so. I am thrilled, first and foremost, that you're interested in the profession of nursing. It is something that I always wanted to do since I was at the age of 4. And it has opened so many doors for me in so many ways and has been the most rewarding life that I could ever have. And I think that your consideration of our school and our programs is a good one, because we have a long history of success. Our current pass rate combined of NCLEX is 95%, and that's all of our campuses. We range from 96 to 100%. So we have a track record of success. We are the most highly respected nursing program in the state. And I will say that because I'm president of the Board of Nursing for the state of West Virginia. So I do hear a lot and know a lot about all of the other programs as well. I will say that my faculty are dedicated to your success. I am 100% dedicated to your success. And I want to get to know you individually. I have an open door policy. Our schedules are crazy, so we're all over the place, but I would encourage you to reach out to me if you have questions, even after this session. Even you or your parents. I know parents are a big part of the decision of where you're going to go, what you're going to do with this next chapter of your life. So reach out to me, reach out to my wonderful leaders, my wonderful team. And I look forward to getting to know you, and I hope that you'll choose us.
Thank you, Dean Halsey. So what we'll do now is we'll go back to the run of the show to kind of give you an idea of some of the other talking points that we'll discuss. We'll introduce the rest of the panels that are here with us. We do have some folks, some staff members, some faculty, and some students that are with us here this evening. We'll go over the academic programs that are offered on all of our campuses at the undergraduate and graduate level. We'll discuss freshman tracks, how you're admitted into your freshman year and how you can eventually earn a spot and secure a spot into our actual nursing program. Then we'll discuss the curriculum overview and give you some graduation timelines, so that way you can kind of put a path together there. We'll have our student ambassadors share their experiences. We have a few questions that I'll ask them to kind of just give you an idea of what it's like for them, starting from when they were your age, going through this decision-making process up until now. Then we'll have our STEP simulation lab overview, just share some data and information about our simulation lab on the Morgantown campus. We'll go over some facts and figures, just some kind of data and selling points and things like that about our program and our partnership with WVU Medicine. We'll discuss a laptop program requirement that we have. We'll allow our chair people for Beckley and Kaiser discuss their programs on their campuses. We are one WVU School of Nursing, but there are some minor differences, so we want to share what those are. And then just go, what's next? What's part of the application process? Some of you, like I said, are early on in the stages of your high school career, just determining if nursing is for you. Some of you are just making that final decision on if WVU is a good fit. So we'll discuss the application process and what's next. And lastly, we'll just finish up with a Q&A session. So we'll have all of our panelists here that are going to be able to answer questions specifically about any of our programs, whether here in Morgantown, Kaiser, or Beckley, or anything like that. So go ahead and get started with introductions. So first we have Dr. Brad Phillips, who is our Associate Dean of Undergraduate Academics. I'd like to congratulate Brad. He has joined us into this role in January, so very new. So congratulations, Brad.
Sure, thanks, Philip. I just want to echo what Dean Halsey said and just say that we are so excited that you're all here tonight, and we really do hope you will choose WVU as your home. Like the dean said, it's a great place to learn and grow. We have amazing faculty and resources available. I also put my email's in the chat box. If you have any questions about our program, please reach out, contact me. I'm happy to always share information or direct you to the right people if you have any further questions. So welcome. We're happy to have you here.
Thank you, Brad. Next, we have Ms. Joe Watson, who is our director of our BSN programs.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for coming tonight. So glad that you're here with us. We have so much to share with you. And we're really looking forward to the questions that you may have so that we can help you choose where you best want to do your nursing career, because I think you're going to love it here. Real excited to have this little conversation with you tonight.
Thank you, Joe. Next, we have Hillary Parcell, who is our Beckley BSN chairperson.
Hello, everyone. We're so happy to have you here tonight. And I am here representing the Beckley campus. We are one WVU School of Nursing, but we're multiple locations. So if you are anywhere in the Beckley area, we would love to have you consider us as your place to go for your nursing career, to start your nursing career. I'm also alumna of the program on the WVU Tech campus. So I have a special passion, I guess, for the success of the students in the program on the Beckley campus.
Thank you, Hillary. Next, we have Dr. April Shapiro. April, I apologize, but she's our Kaiser BSN chairperson.
Hi, everybody. Again, I echo what everyone is saying. Welcome. As Dr. Phillips did, I put my email in the chat specific to the Kaiser campus. So we are the smallest, most rural of the campuses. So, we have a lot to offer as far as, the program itself, our skills and simulation labs, and are growing and expanding every day. So we welcome any questions you have about Kaiser. Come visit us. We're excited about what we do, and as all are, very dedicated faculty and staff. So again, welcome all of you.
Thank you, April. And lastly, my name is Philip Engelmeyer. I think some of you or most of you have probably had some sort of communication with me. So again, I'd like to thank you guys for taking the time out of your evening to come spend it with us here. Next, I would like to introduce our student ambassadors that we have on the Morgantown campus. This is a relatively new program that we've recently started. Our Beckley and Kaiser campuses are starting one as well. First, I would like to introduce, I think, Atiria. She just got in here. She's our senior student ambassador from Wheeling, West Virginia. Atiria.
Hi, everyone. Sorry, I was having a little bit of technical difficulties. My name is Atiria Walker. I'm from Wheeling, West Virginia. I'm a senior nursing student here at WVU. I also minor in addiction studies, and I'm looking forward to meet all of you and answer any questions that I could be of help for.
Thank you, Atiria. Next, we have Aiden Slusser. He's a junior from Fairmont, West Virginia.
Hey, everyone. My name's Aiden Slusser. I'm a junior in the School of Nursing, and I'm from Fairmont, West Virginia. I also minor in medical humanities and health studies. And we're here to answer any questions you have, or our information's on the School of Nursing website if you want to reach out to us and ask us anything.
And then lastly, we have Kylie Dick. She's a sophomore from Bowie, Maryland.
Hi, everyone. I'm Kylie. I'm from Bowie, Maryland, and I'm a second semester sophomore here at WVU. And yeah, again, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out and ask us. That's what we're here for. And thanks for coming tonight.
Thank you, Kylie. You might notice that these are all tiered: senior, junior, sophomore. We did not plan this when we started the program, but it worked out that way. So we have each student that's kind of each level of the nursing program. So that kind of worked out really well. So first, we'll discuss the programs that are offered not only at the undergraduate, but the graduate level as well. So I'm sure all of you are here for our traditional BSN program, which is offered on our Beckley, Kaiser, and Morgantown campuses. We do feature a second degree program called BSBA to BSN. Essentially, this is a program that if students have earned a bachelor's in any field, it can be anything from education to engineering, and you're thinking about a career change, this is an accelerated BSN program. So students can start and finish the program in about 18 months. So it's a really great program for students who are looking for a career change. This program is offered on our Bridgeport United Hospital Center campus. That's a hospital located in Bridgeport, West Virginia, which is just about 30 minutes south of Morgantown. And then obviously our Morgantown main campus. We do feature an RN to BSN program. It is offered online for current RNs that have earned an associate's or a diploma through a nationally accredited nursing program. So this is super flexible for, students that maybe work full time that are looking to try to pursue their BSN from that associate's. At the graduate level, if any of you were thinking about that already, we do feature an MSN program that features 2 areas of study, which is family and pediatric nurse practitioner. This program is completed online. We have a post-MSN program. This post-MSN program is for students that have earned an MSN already, but would like certification in one of these areas. And those areas are a family nurse practitioner, pediatric nurse practitioner, psychiatric mental health nurse practitioner, adult gerontology acute care nurse practitioner, and nursing executive leadership. And this program is also online and takes about a year to complete. We have an MSN MBA dual degree program. This program is online, and this nice thing is it offers a flat tuition rate for all of our students. This is something new for this program this year. We're really excited about. This is 2 graduate degrees, so you would finish the program with an MSN and an MBA. We have a doctorate of nursing practice, which is online, also features a flat rate tuition. We have a doctor of nursing practice nurse anesthetist program. This program is a hybrid program. There is a lot of in-person components to this, so students must reside relatively locally to that Morgantown area. And lastly, we have a nursing PhD program. This is great for students looking to get into research or in academia. This program is hybrid, but it is mostly online. There's just a few in-person components during the summer for the first year. So what we're here for mostly today is to get an idea of how to start and be admitted and finish the nursing, the traditional BSN program. So what we'll do is we'll just define freshman tracks. And so some of you may have applied and been admitted to one of these tracks already. What I want to do is just kind of state what they are. So all the application process and admittance process makes sense. So first we have direct admit. This is the most appealing track that we have for students because you kind of have one foot in the door already as you're admitted into the School of Nursing. You're admitted into the nursing program as a first-time freshman. Excuse me. The only caveat is the students must maintain a 3.5 GPA to retain their seat. So the appeal is that you apply, you're admitted into the program as a first-time freshman. If you have that 3.5 or higher, you're able to just move directly into the program when it begins in that first semester of your sophomore year, and you don't have to reapply. Students must meet GPA, ACT, SAT composite scores, along with the math the math score for those sections, or take what's called the TEAS test and meet that composite for those requirements. And all of this information is listed on our website, and I'll share that with you once we finish up here. Next is pre-nursing. Pre-nursing students are advised in the School of Nursing, but you're not admitted into the nursing program as a first-time freshman. There are prerequisites that need to be completed, and we'll discuss those here shortly. But that is how pre-nursing students will earn their way into the program, is from successful competitive completion of those prerequisites. Again, there are GPA and or ACT composite, SAT math scores, and then there is an option for the TEAS as well here for pre-nursing. And then lastly, here in Morgantown, the major is called Health and Wellbeing. In Beckley, this major is called General Education. These are for students that did not meet the pre-nursing or direct admit requirements. In Morgantown, students are advised by the College of Applied Human Sciences, or CAHS, for the first semester. On both of these campuses, after the successful first completion of your fall freshman semester, you would have to change your major to pre-nursing. This is required to apply into the program and finish a couple of the prerequisites that are needed in that following spring freshman semester. In order to do this, students must have a minimum of a 3.0 GPA or higher in order to change that major to pre-nursing or pre-nursing. So at this point, I'm going to turn this over to Miss Jo Watson, and I'm going to let her go over the curriculum that you can, starting from your freshman year all the way up until your final semester of your senior year. Jo?
Okay, so you guys can see this, it's on the screen in front of you. So the freshman year is the first bunch of squares there. And that's a lot of what Philip was just explaining. You have to do a lot of your prereqs and most of your, what we call our GEFs, get all the basic stuff out of the way so that you're ready to start when you get to be a sophomore. So you get admitted as a sophomore and you begin on your in either the fall or the spring of your sophomore year. And you would start with Nursing 211, which is our health assessment and communication course, where you're going to learn health assessment and communication. We do clinical right away, usually within the first 4 weeks of school. You're actually in the hospital already. You spend a lot of time in the skills lab for that course. And it's a good course to get you like totally jump right in and get going. You're going to take those other courses with it, your microbiology and your POM, or a lot of you are going to be taking, what's the other one? Physio 207. Does that sound right, Philip? It depends on the semester, but it's your A&P course is going to be in that semester as well. Your second semester is 212, and 212 is more foundations, and that's where you're going to learn a lot of your basic skills. You're going to spend a lot of time in the skills lab and a lot more time in clinical in the actual hospital as well. Everything from washing hands to getting people out of bed. You're going to give medications by the end of that semester. So that's where it really starts to make sense and you really start feeling like a nurse. Pharmacology is also part of that semester. So it's a little bit harder because there's a lot going on. There's a lot to learn, a lot to hang your hat on, but that's where you really start feeling like, ooh, this is fun stuff. When you get to the junior year, we start doing some of our specialties. So you're going to do 311, which is our adult health course. And that's our first adult med surg course. And along with that, you also have a 5-week rotation in Nursing 310, which is our obstetrics and gynecology course. And you'll spend time, both of those courses in the clinical area as well. We also have our evidence-based practice and research course, which is one of the defining courses that helps us be a BSN program instead of an ASN program. It's one of the big parts of the research and the understanding of evidence-based practice and why we do what we do that actually makes it a BSN program instead of some of these other programs like an ADN or a diploma. When you get to your second semester in the junior year, you'll do Nursing 312, which is a second med surg course for adult health and a little bit more complicated. We do a lot more pathophysiology in there. And then you have a 5-week rotation in your peds course as well. So you're going to do plenty of clinical in both of those semesters. And you're also going to have a lot of didactic because it's not just one course to concentrate on, it's 2. And then we also do ethics and healthcare policy that semester. And that's a great class. It's a good conversation class. And most of that class is actually online. So that makes it a little bit easier for some of you who don't like to be on campus every minute. And then when we get to the senior year, we have Nursing 411, which is where we do our community rotation. You spend the entire semester, as you did with the other ones, doing the didactic work, but you actually spend 180 hours worth of clinical time in the community with a preceptor, with a nurse preceptor in the community in many different environments. We also do a 5-week rotation of clinical for the mental health course that you'll have. And we do that over at Chestnut Ridge Hospital. And they use all the different units. There's 3 or 4 different units that we use over there for mental health. This is where you can add your nursing electives, which are some requirements. You're going to have a couple nursing electives by the time you graduate. And we have some really cool ones like diabetes. We have a pediatric, couple pediatric ones. I'm trying to think there's movies and mental health. There's a lot of really fun ones. There's one that's a patient experience. There's one that's just simulation. So we've got a lot of fun things that you can add. And this is where you really can have time in your schedule to add those courses. And then our last semester is our Nursing 412, where you do what we call our leadership. And that is a precepted experience. You do 200 hours of leadership where you follow the nurse in the hospital in an acute care setting. Most of them are in Ruby. We do use Mon General if we need to, and we have used other hospitals in the state as well. you follow the nurse's schedule. So if they work night weekends, you work night weekends with them, and you get 180 hours by the end of the semester. 2 of the weeks during the semester, we pull you out and you go to a critical care rotation where you actually spend 2 weeks in the ICU with a preceptor and with one of our nursing instructors. So you get a little bit more. A lot of schools don't even have a critical care component to their curriculum. They kind of just blend it in with their leadership program, but we actually have a 2-week kind of jump in and try it out kind of rotation, and it's a whole lot of fun. And then 486 is basically us doing a lot of review with you and helping you find the parts of the program that you feel weak in, and getting you remediation if you need it, and get you ready to be able to take that NCLEX exam, which is, the best part of all of this. So that's the whole goal, be able to pass. So that's it in a nutshell.
Great. Thank you, Joe. And so what we're going to do now is discuss some timelines, some graduation timelines, I should say, to kind of give you an idea of from the time you start your freshman year and up until you graduate, how long is it going to take me to complete the program. So if students start in the fall, which is offered on the Beckley, Kaiser, and Morgantown campus, it is a 4-year program. So you have your year of prerequisites and your 3 years within the program. There is a spring start in the sophomore year for Morgantown only. This does extend the program out an extra semester. So you're not taking any more credit hours. You're just taking 122 credit hours, I think is what it is, to graduate, and you're expanding that an extra semester. So when you get towards and I'll go ahead and show you, when you get down towards, the last definitely 4 semesters of the program, instead of the 16, you're looking at maybe 13 during those semesters, because you've completed some of those courses already. Plan B options we do have as well, because obviously it's unfortunate not every student can be admitted into our program. What happens is, in Morgantown especially, once we make decisions at the end of the freshman year, students know where they stand in the program for that first fall and second spring start in Morgantown. From that point, we do start to kind of go over the Plan Bs. The first Plan B option, which I highly encourage, is to potentially consider one of our branch campuses if there are seats available on those campuses. The number of seats available can vary. It could be none, it could be a few. It just depends on a year-to-year basis. But if there are seats available on those campuses, we can extend an offer of 2 of the students that have applied to Morgantown. The second option is to sit on what's called an alternate list for their sophomore year. This enables them to retake any prerequisites that maybe you struggled with during the freshman year. Did you get a C in biology? Is that really what's holding you back? At that point, you can sit on the alternate list and retake that biology course or any other course that might be holding your prerequisite GPA back to try to improve onto that. I don't usually recommend this option. It's risky. There's the potential that you may not improve, or even if you do improve, the cohort might be more competitive the following year. So I don't necessarily recommend this option, but it is on the table for students who want the Morgantown campus. These graduation timelines that you see here would not take effect for students that sit on the alternate list for their sophomore year at that point. You'd be looking at 5 to 5.5 years. The third option is to potentially prepare for the second degree accelerated program that I had mentioned before. You can major in another degree or change your major to another major in any program that you would like. And then once you finish that bachelor's degree, that would enable you to potentially finish any missing prerequisites that you have and potentially start that accelerated program, which again takes 18 months. And then lastly is just to speak to your advisor to kind of consider your academic strengths, your weaknesses, your likes and your dislikes, and see what other major, what other career might be best for you at that point. So those are usually the Plan B options that we have for our students that are not admitted to the Morgantown campus. So at this point, I would like to kind of go back to our student ambassadors and introduce them, just so you can get to know them and kind of get an idea of where they were coming from a senior in high school up until where they are now. So they can offer just any insight to hopefully help you make a decision. So we will go ahead and I have a few questions that I'm going to ask each of them. We'll go ahead and just start with the oldest to the youngest, I should say. So we'll start with Ateria first. Number one, when you were a high school senior, what were you looking for in a nursing program, and what attracted you to West Virginia University?
Well, I'm sure like many of you, one main thing I was making sure of was to make sure the nursing program had a high NCLEX pass rate, and WVU definitely has that. I also am from Wheeling, West Virginia, so I knew I didn't want to travel too far from home. And I knew my main focus was to stay in state, so I compared the colleges within West Virginia. And out of all of them, I really was attracted that WVU allows us to do clinicals at Ruby Memorial Hospital, which is a level 1 trauma center and one of the top leading teaching hospitals within West Virginia. And so I've definitely gotten to learn a lot just from doing clinical experiences there. And I also loved our STEP Center. That was what definitely nailed it for me. Our STEP Center is wonderful. It allows us to practice clinical skills on mannequins and just get extra practice sessions in before we go into the hospital and perform all these skills we learn on actual patients.
All right, Aiden, I'll put that question to you. What were you looking for in a nursing program, and what attracted you to WVU?
So I'm gonna be honest, Ateria kind of covered all the bases, but the couple things that really turned me towards WVU was the hands-on experience that we can truly gain before we go see patients. Like she had mentioned, we have the STEPS lab, and it's an amazing facility that has a lot of real life things that simulate the hospital. And that's a good place for us to practice and improve our skills before we actually go into Ruby and see real patients and get to do our clinicals over there.
And Kylie, what about you? Anything different that hasn't been said already?
Not really. Pretty much just the hands-on experience. Not to name any other programs, but I know some of my other friends, I've had much more clinical experience already as a sophomore. Some of them haven't even stepped foot into a hospital yet. So just the fact that I'm able to do that and already getting that experience so early on.
So I know Ateria and Aiden, you kind of touched base on this a little bit earlier, but were there any other institutions that you were looking at before deciding on West Virginia University, or was WVU your first choice?
WVU was definitely my first choice, so I was waiting to hear back from them first, and then I was going to look at Plan B options. And I luckily got into the program, so I didn't have to worry about it.
It was the same for me. I'm from Fairmont, so I live about 20 minutes away from WVU. WVU was my first choice. I toured it, look at what all they had to offer, and they sold me, and then I got accepted into the program.
WVU was not on my radar at all. I did not think I would end up here. I really like it here. I'm happy that I'm here, but I was looking at James Madison and University of Delaware because they were a little bit closer to home for me. I'm about 4.5 hours away from home now, but I actually really enjoy it here and I can't imagine being anywhere else. So.
Thank you. Terry, going back to you, what have you enjoyed so far in our program? Is there any classes or clinicals that stand out to you?
So I just completed my critical care clinical when you're in the ICU. So I was in the medical intensive care unit, and that's like one of my big interests is like critical care. So that by far was my favorite clinical experience that we've had. And I'd say just clinicals overall is like my favorite part of nursing school because definitely a hands-on learner. So actually getting to perform what we practice actually in the hospital is just so helpful, especially with when you have exams, like being able to see what you're learning actually in the hospital definitely helps you connect with what you're learning in class.
The didactic portion of classes is obviously a crucial part of our learning and stuff, but I'm also a hands-on learner, big fan of clinical. If I could just do clinical all day, I would be the happiest man alive. But I like trauma stuff. I like seeing crazy stuff. So I think my coolest clinical was last semester in 311. I was on a trauma floor and just hearing the patient's stories and getting to see all kinds of different stuff with them really opened my eyes and was awesome.
My favorite so far has been 212, just kind of getting into actual nursing things, getting more of those skills and getting into clinical and everything like that.
There's a theme with our nursing students. I feel like they're pulled to the career because of the hands-on. I mean, I feel like your hands-on learners are interested in nursing for sure. So obviously, it comes to no surprise that nursing it's a rigorous, it's a challenging program. What were some challenges that you've had in the program, and how were you able to overcome them? Was it through tutoring? Was it leaning on your friends and peers, or faculty members, or something else entirely?
So I definitely say just study habits. Nursing exams are a different way of thinking, and it takes some adjustment to get used to it. So don't be afraid to reach out for help. I always in my professor's office hours asking questions about how I could improve on the exam, about a different way I can study to help me perform better on the exams. Um, WVU School of Nursing also offers tutoring, so you get a peer one-on-one with you to help you with whatever subject you're struggling in. Another resource I reached out to was our Student Nurses Association, when you get into the nursing program, you're automatically a member of it. And just being able to talk to upperclassmen when I was like an underclassman, and the SNA organization was really helpful because they kind of gave me different tips that helped with the specific classes they passed. So just being able to like see from an upperclassman's perspective, hey, I know what you're going through. I went through this. I made it. This is what you can do. That helped me. Hopefully, it'll help you too.
The biggest thing that's helped me when I'm struggling in a certain course is just going to the professor and talking to them. They're there for you. They want to see you succeed. They want to help you. And they're really good about helping give you different study tips, bring up certain points that you might be missing. And I've also had peer tutoring before. There was a class I was struggling in, reached out to my professor, got hooked up with a peer tutor. She helped me tremendously, and I had good results from it.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest, when I came in, I did not know how to study. I thought I did, and then I took some tests and I realized I did not know how to study. So just kind of learning that and learning like how nursing tests are, it's a different way of thinking, like Ateria said. And the thing that helped me the most is doing like study groups with my friends, because in every class you'll find that person that's doing really well, and if you can try to figure out what they're doing and they're willing to like help you out, everyone that I've met is very welcoming, very friendly. So if you're like, hey, I just need a little bit of help with this, can you tell me how you're studying for these tests, what's working for you? And that's definitely helped me a lot.
That's perfect. That's all good. Those are all good answers. And I certainly encourage any student that, whether you come to WVU or not, whenever you enroll, please utilize your faculty and their open door hours and any tutoring services that they have, because nursing is challenging, and you want to make sure that you're able to not only, secure your spot in the program, but also make it through the program. So thanks for that advice. So we'll go into goals after graduation. What are your plans after you graduate? What are some goals? Is it graduate school? Is there a job? Do you want to travel, or a location you would like to live? Anything like that?
Well, I can thankfully officially say that I got hired in the cardiovascular intensive care unit at Ruby Memorial Hospital. So that's where I'll be working when I graduate. I am super excited for that. And my goal is just to gain as much critical care knowledge as I possibly can. My end goal is to hopefully continue on and attend graduate school at one of the CRNA programs. I want to be a certified registered nurse anesthetist. So that's my long time end goal.
I'm kind of the same way. I'm hoping to work at Ruby in either the SICU, which is the surgical ICU with a lot of the trauma stuff, or the neuro critical care unit. And then I also want to go back to graduate school and become a CRNA.
I don't know too much what I want to do yet. Still trying to keep my options open, but I'd be open to staying and working at Ruby. I really like it there so far. So right now I'm just trying to see what I like, figure that out.
I know many students here. This is going to just kind of be like a general open floor here. Many students have been admitted to honors or may have an interest in honors. Any of you involved in honors and have any kind of insight into how that works with the School of Nursing?
I've definitely enjoyed being involved in the honors college while being a student within the WU School of Nursing program as well. So honors is kind of different. They have like a two-part thing you can join. So you have your honors foundation, which is the first 2 years of your college experience. And it's more enhanced, like educational learning that you can gain from the honors college. I mean, the School of Nursing already does an excellent job. And so you do just like a few extra assignments, like you do honors add-ons already to your assigned nursing courses. So many people think it's like, oh, so much extra work. But the School of Nursing faculty really work with you because they understand nursing school is difficult. You already have a rigorous schedule, so they try not to make it more difficult on you. So honors college and nursing school work together, and they allow you to kind of just do like a few extra assignments to the already course load you have going on. And overall, the extra assignments that I had to complete really helped me in the long run with the exams because it helped me do like some extra studying and kind of go more in depth with the subject topic we were learning. And then once you get to your junior year, you have the option to continue on to the Honors Excel program, which is more research and experiential based. That's what I'm currently in now. I completed the Honors Foundation. And so that's another 2 years, your junior and senior year. And what's great about the honors college is even if you didn't complete the honors foundation program and you say, hey, I want to kind of do research, you can join your junior year even if you didn't complete the honors foundation program. And so that's kind of where I'm at now. And I definitely recommend anybody who's interested in thinking about joining the honors college. I think it's great. And I've had great experiences so far with being involved in it. I'm also an honors college student ambassador. So feel free to like reach out to the honors college or ask me any questions related to School of Nursing and honors college. I'm always happy to help.
I lived in honors my freshman year and I really enjoyed that. I think it just helped kind of narrow down the community for me. And even now in like my nursing classes, I still see like the same people and I recognize them and be like, oh, hey, we lived together in honors last year or whatever. And it's just kind of a good talking point and just kind of helps narrow that down and get a good kind of community around you. And like Atiria said, I do think that the classes have helped me in my different courses. Like it just been some like supplemental learning that's definitely helped me with the exams and everything.
One
And-
quick thing I'll add.
Sorry, go ahead, Aiden.
I'm not in the honors college. I got like information about it when I was coming into WVU and I thought it looked like a lot of work and they said something about reading a book and I was like, nah, I'm good, no way. But after hearing two people that are in honors college talk about it, I really wish I would have done it. I mean, it's a little too late now, but that's okay. I wish I would have done it. So one thing I'll say is it's truly not that much extra work. It's definitely beneficial and I would do it if you're debating it.
Thank you for all that input. Just one last thing, and this is going to be just anything that you guys may want to add. Anything else, insight, any information you wished you would have known when you were going through the college exploration process that you wish you would have knew as a high school student. Anything you want to add?
I just said, don't be afraid to ask for help. I think we come in from high school, like a lot of us are overachievers and we're not used to kind of struggling sometimes in a class. We're used to always excelling. So when you come into that in college and you're like, oh no, like this is kind of difficult. I don't know what's going on. Like I'm not doing very well. Don't wait at the last minute. Reach out for help from your faculty, your professor of that class. Like Kylie was saying, try to find the person who's doing really well in the class and say, hey, would you be willing to like do a study group with me? Just make sure you use your resources. We want you all to succeed and graduate college. So we're here to help.
One thing I'll add is reach out to student ambassadors. When I was coming into college, I wish I had someone that was going through it to talk to, and I didn't. But now we're here. Reach out to us, ask us questions. We'd love to talk to you, give you the rundown on what actually goes down.
Great. Well, I appreciate all your insight there. Hopefully that was helpful to any of the prospective students that are here with us this evening. So now what we're going to do is we're going to, if I can get there, we're going to discuss the simulation lab here on the Morgantown campus. I know that was a big selling point for all of our students. So just want to kind of give you an idea of what the sim lab here in Morgantown. It is a 20,000 square foot facility that provides safe, fun learning experiences for our students. It's a place for students to make mistakes, so that way you can get those out of the way when it comes time to move into the actual facilities. There are 4 ICU simulation rooms that are in the simulation side. Most of those are going to be used during your junior year. We have 2 10-bed open lab spaces for skills. Those are what we call basically the skills lab. A lot of those take place during your sophomore year in nursing 211 and 212. We have 12 patient exam rooms. Those are set up very much just like a primary care physician's office. If you've been to the doctor recently, we have 12 of those basically. That's where you work with a lot of assessment on standardized patients or some of your peers, or even our nursing simulation assistant, Miss Courtney Riley. We have an OB pediatric sim room. This is one of the 5 simulation rooms over on the simulation side that really is where your junior year is completed. That's where you do basically a lot of like labor and delivery and stuff like that. We have a surgical skills unit, and then we actually have a fully functioning operating room as well. I found out today from Kylie that our nursing students do get some experience in that operating room. It wasn't for very long, but they did spend some time in the operating room. A lot of that's going to be more for our graduate level students in our nurse anesthesia program. So I'm going to stop. I'm going to X out of this PowerPoint here real quick, and I just want to show this quick 1.5-minute video of the STEP simulation lab. And this is all on our nursing webpage. So nursing.wvu.edu, you click on the Bachelor of Science Nursing program here. This is where all this information that I'm going to refer back to. And I know Caitlin has been sending some stuff in the chat, but we'll go ahead and just watch this video. For whatever reason you can't hear it, please just let me know. So obviously, seeing this facility in person is much more impressive than the video. But since it's a virtual event, we're not able to see it in person. I know some of you may have seen it in person. If you haven't visited, I would certainly encourage you to come visit. I usually try to build that into a personal visit and show that sim lab as much as possible, just because of how neat of a facility it is. So let me pull back the PowerPoint here real quick. Apologize, this Dropbox is blocking my ability to pull up the slideshow. So move into some facts and figures here real quick until this Dropbox disappears. I apologize for that. I believe Dean Halsey may have said this whenever she was actually going over the information and welcoming you all. We do have the #1 ranked BSN program in the state of West Virginia. We do have a top 100 ranked program within the United States, according to US News and World Report. Not a surprise, and you've heard from Materia, 100% job placement rate for our students. Basically, Materia still had a whole semester plus before she graduates, and she already had a job lined up. And that's just basically the demand for a lot of our nurses right now. Over the last 5 years, we had a 99% NCLEX pass rate on the Morgantown campus. And as Dean Halsey also pointed out, between all of the campuses and all of our programs, undergraduate programs, were 95%. The national average is, I think, 90 or 91% for 4-year BSN programs. So we're significantly above the national average for all of our campuses. Our class of 2021 had a graduation rate of 91%. So we do graduate and retain a big bulk of our students in our nursing program. To be honest with you, if there are times that students may decide nursing is not for them. I'm sure, as any of our students can tell you, once you practice inserting a Foley or a catheter, that may give you pretty good understanding as to whether nursing might be a good career for you or not. And so unfortunately, we do maybe lose some students due to that, but we do graduate and retain and graduate a big bulk of our students. Priority clinical placement with WVU Medicine, especially Ruby, is a big selling point for our Morgantown campus. That's awesome because many programs around the state are competing for clinical places, and there's a lot of travel involved. Our students just have to walk into the next building to get access to the largest hospital in the state of West Virginia, which is a level 1 trauma hospital. I think level 2 children's hospital, the new children's hospital we have, if I'm not mistaken. So, and a little bit about WVU Medicine and Ruby Memorial Hospital. Ruby is, again, the largest hospital in West Virginia. It is magnet recognized, which is the highest honor that a hospital can receive. United Hospital Center in Bridgeport was ranked a top 100 hospital for 2 years straight. WVU Medicine, again, is the largest healthcare organization in West Virginia, and it has facilities in West Virginia, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Maryland, and Virginia. Many of those locations are just, they're in the bordering states and relatively close to the West Virginia border. And then obviously just networking and employment. Again, I use Materia as an example. She has earned a position at Ruby Memorial Hospital, and that's while you're able to build the relationships while you're completing your clinicals. And one thing that students may or may not know, large healthcare organizations like WVU Medicine are really doing a great job of trying to sign nurses on to come work for them, and then also retain them after they've agreed to work. So there are sign-on bonuses, and then there's also tuition reimbursement opportunities. So sign-on bonuses of $10,000 to $15,000, and then also tuition reimbursement, which I found out today. I thought it was 12, but I think it's 15 now. So there's a lot of benefits financially to being a nurse. You have the job placement rate of 100, but then you also have all those financial opportunities with sign-on bonuses and tuition reimbursement and such. So we do have a laptop program. We just want all of our seniors especially to be aware of this. So this students are required to purchase a laptop from the Health Science Center as a first-time freshman, or excuse me, not first-time freshman. Once you actually are admitted into the program, it's usually a MacBook, and the one-time fee, I believe, is around $1,500. The laptop is yours once you pay for that one-time fee. Basically, our IT department puts everything that you ever would need on this laptop. It makes it easy for IT to be able to work on any of the laptops that may have issues in the future. Hopefully they never do, but it's easier to work on one brand than a dozen different types of brands. It is recognized by financial aid requirements. So any scholarships, federal, state aid, work study, any other scholarships you get, that can be applied to that. Now, it obviously can't guarantee that it will cover all of it or even some of it, but it is potentially available to be covered with that. So that leaves some options for the freshman year. What are you supposed to do if you can't get a laptop until your sophomore year? If you have a laptop now, I would encourage you to see that through. I know usually a lot of students or parents and grandparents like to buy laptops for graduation gifts for students as a senior year. I would encourage them to, or if you can encourage them to, wait another year, see if they can maybe buy that for whenever you actually start the program versus when you're graduating high school. If you don't have a laptop now, there are some options to buy something for your freshman year. You can look new, you can look used or refurbished. Obviously, used or refurbished are going to come at a little bit of a discount. Excuse me. But also, if you don't want to purchase anything at all, you can utilize all the university resources. So there's going to be so many desktop computers all over campus that you'll have access to in the residence halls, in the nursing wing, the libraries. So there's desktop computers everywhere to help kind of compensate with that. And you can also rent laptops from the library as well. So that is on the table too, if you did not want to purchase something during your freshman year, but just want to make sure that everybody is aware of that. So at this point, I'm going to turn the conversation to Ms. Hillary Parcell and Dr. April Shapiro to kind of discuss their programs on their campuses, just to kind of give you an idea of some of the similarities and the differences between our Morgantown, Kaiser, and Beckley campuses. So I'll go ahead and turn it over to Hillary if you want to go ahead and get started.
Sure. So the nursing program on the Beckley campus is actually located on the WU Tech campus. We also have a skills lab on campus. We have a simulation lab that we use a lot at the sophomore level. And it includes 6 beds with 6 mannequins. And we have a lot of other simulated equipment as well. And then we also have a high fidelity simulation lab that it's a 5-bed lab that is individual rooms. And we have high fidelity mannequins in there. We have 2 adult mannequins, and we have an OB birthing simulator. We have a new pediatric and newborn simulator, and we have a pediatric simulator as well. So they get a really great experience in there with a lot of other simulation equipment too, like IV arms and different things like that. So there are plenty of opportunities to get to do some simulation on our campus. We also added virtual reality to our campus this past year. And so we have some virtual reality headsets that have programs to where you can actually do nursing simulations while you're wearing the VR headset. So the students are really liking those. So we have that as well. A few other things that may be different. Not like Philip said, we're not located right next door to a hospital, but we do have a lot of great clinical agencies in our area. Our students are, the clinical agencies upon graduation are begging for our students because they graduate with such a great and varied nursing experience. And so we work closely with Raleigh General, the VA Medical Center, Bar H. We do go to CAMC and CAMC Women's and Children's. We go to several different mental health facilities. We use the Summersville area, the Charleston area. So Charleston is still relatively close for us for a few of our clinicals. So we do utilize that area as well. So the students get a great clinical experience as well as simulation. Philip was talking about the laptop program. Ours is slightly different, and it's also very similar on the Kaiser campus that April will talk about here in a minute. We do not require you to buy a specific laptop through the university. You can purchase whatever laptop you want as long as it meets specific requirements so that you would be able to do specific programs on your computer, like Microsoft Word, some things like that. And when you are admitted into the program, we'll send you a welcome letter, and we also send you a form that has all the information that you need about our laptop program that's been approved by IT, and they looked over it to make sure it is what you need. So that's something that you would get as you were admitted. However, if you're thinking, oh, I think I'm going to get admitted and I want to go ahead and get a laptop that would meet these requirements, you are more than welcome to do that. It's pretty simple. It's pretty much the kind of run-of-the-mill regular requirements that you would use on a regular laptop anyhow. So you could just reach out to us and say, hey, what are those requirements and specifications for those laptops? I'm interested in them now. And we'd be happy to share those with you. And I'm sure April would as well. Anything else you need me to cover, Philip, for the Beckley campus?
No, that's it. If you think
Okay.
that's good, that's it. Yeah.
Sure. And for those of you that may not know where we're located, we kind of consider ourselves Southern West Virginia. We're in the Beckley area, obviously, in Raleigh County, close to Fayette County, close to the New River Gorge Bridge, if you're familiar with that. Charleston is a little less than an hour away. So that's our location.
It's a beautiful area. If anybody enjoys the outdoors, the New River Gorge has recently been named a national park. So there's a lot of outdoor stuff to do in that area. So great, beautiful area.
Absolutely. And we have a lot of those resources on campus. We have an adventure rec program. And so they have a lot of those resources on campus that students are able to utilize too. Thank you.
Dr. Shapiro, would you like to add anything about your Kaiser campus?
Yes, definitely. So again, welcome everyone. So we, as I said before, we are the smallest, most rural campus. So even outside of nursing, the average class size is about 25 students in a class. So, you know, small but mighty, you get that one-on-one attention. We are located on the WVU Kaiser campus, which is Potomac State College. And so we're up in what used to be the National Guard Armory, if you're familiar with Kaiser at all. It's now called the J. Edward Kelly Complex. And our courses and progression plan run the same as the Morgantown and Beckley campuses. So exactly what Joe went over as your course sequences. Just ours are maybe named a little bit differently, like your anatomy 1 and 2 is biology 230 and 231, but it's the same coursework. Nursing courses and clinical experiences begin at the sophomore level, so it'd be the same. Now, as far as we're located on the Kaiser campus, but your degree will actually be a WVU Morgantown degree. In the very last semester of your program, your degree works, which is how you track all your courses, gets converted to Morgantown. And so your degree then is a West Virginia University degree, not a Potomac State College degree. Now, there are 8 of us. We're a small department, 8 faculty and staff on the Kaiser campus, and we have a variety of practice experiences. We all have certifications in our practice and education. We all have or are working on doctoral degrees, and we conduct research and are involved in grants, and we publish our work. We are lifelong learners, and you know, just as our other campuses, we really want to get students involved in that and be good role models for that. As Hillary described, we too on the Kaiser campus have a state-of-the-art skills and simulation lab. So we have a 7-bed skills mannequin lab where students practice all of their skills from sophomore year on up. We have 4 high-tech simulators. 2 of those are med-surg simulators, so a SimMan and a Nurse Ann simulator. We have a Gamard pediatric HAL, and then the most recent addition to our mannequin family is a CAE Lucina, and she's an augmented reality mannequin, so we can actually do live births on her. I was so excited. I delivered my first baby a couple weeks ago, but then we can also put the HoloLens devices on and do some augmented reality with her. So it's really neat. And just as at Morgantown, there's audio and video at each bed in our simulation lab and our skills lab. So, you know, students can be on learning space and see themselves there. So that really helps build your confidence and your clinical judgment as you get out into clinical. And, you know, some of your student ambassadors said how important that is. We have a variety of clinical experiences. So it's the same amount of hours, whether you're on the Kaiser or the Morgantown or the Beckley campus, over 1,100 hours of hands-on learning. Now, us being more rural, you do have to travel for some clinical, but it gives you a really good, varied experience in small rural hospitals all the way up to larger teaching hospitals. So we use hospitals and nursing homes and community sites. Here in Kaiser, we use Potomac Valley Hospital a lot. We use Stonerise Kaiser, which is a nursing center. We use Hampshire Memorial in Romney. We use Grant Memorial Hospital in Petersburg. In Cumberland, we use UPMC Western Maryland, as well as Thomas B. Finan Center, which is a state mental hospital. And then up in Oakland, we use Garrett Regional Medical Center. So again, a variety of experiences in all the med-surg and specialty areas. We do not do direct admit on our campus, so keep that in mind. It's a fall admission only. You're admitted to Potomac State College as a pre-BSN student, and then each student competes for one of those 24 spots that we have every fall. Some of our students do second majors because we don't have a way for a student to declare a minor to be used for financial aid purposes. However, we've had a few students complete minors, and it just gets added to their degree works transcript in that last semester. As Hillary mentioned, for the Beckley campus, We too on Kaiser have our own laptop program because PCs are more popular on our campus than the Mac products, and our IT works mostly with PCs. So our laptop program is a PC-based laptop program. However, we do have some students that have Macs. And so whenever you're admitted to the program, or again, if you need that information before, we do have a spec sheet that you can use that has been, developed between Hillary, myself, and our Hank Carver, who's our IT person for nursing. And so we have that ready to go, and it's worked very well on our campuses. And we use the same lockdown browser. You must have a privacy screen and filter, things like that, to be ready for your exams and all of your work. Philip talked about, boards exam and job placement. Many of our students had positions secured before graduation, whether it be from externships they did the summer before senior year to their nursing 412 leadership rotations. Every March, we have a senior job fair where we invite our clinical sites to campus, and students then rotate through for interviews and just to get to know the facilities, again, from the job aspect. And so many of them had jobs there. We have many students that are working here locally, but we also have students that are from the Morgantown and Bridgeport area, or that lived here in Kaiser and moved to Morgantown. So we have several in critical care there, in the MICU and the SICU that your student ambassadors were talking about. We also have some in the neuro and cardiovascular ICUs there. We have some in obstetrics and some in orthopedics. So most of our graduates have gone on to hospitals. Some have even applied for master's programs because they wanted to be nurse practitioners. On the Kaiser campus, we do offer the Student Nurses Association. So Kaiser is combined with Morgantown, and we have a Kaiser representative that serves on the board. But of course, we have a lot of opportunities for SNA on our local campus as well. We do have the honors program that Eteria and your other student ambassadors were talking about. Being the newest campus, we've graduated 2 classes, and we're about to graduate our 3rd class in May. So to date, we've had 11 students in Honors Foundation, and they've done really well. And as Eteria said, really flourished with that work to, help them in the nursing program. We've had 1 Honors Excel student to date. She just graduated this past May 2022, and she did her research on homesickness among college students. And that work was just published in the Journal of American College Health. So, a lot of good opportunities there for that. We also participate in Sigma Alpha Rho, which is the International Nursing Honor Society. So we have an induction every spring as part of Honors Weekend. And so far we've had 26 students from the Kaiser campus inducted into Sigma Alpha Rho. So, all the resources that you need on the Kaiser campus, from things that have been talked about, like of course your library, other people, study groups, peer mentors, peer tutoring, it's all available just in a smaller campus setting. So I think that sums up Kaiser in a nutshell.
Yeah, it does. Thank you, Dr. Shapiro. And then geographically, if you aren't sure where Kaiser, West Virginia is located, if you're familiar with Maryland at all, it's just right across the river from the state of Maryland. And so it's probably 30 minutes south of Cumberland, Maryland, if you're familiar with that area. So what's next? Going through the application process. So some of you may have moved through some of these steps already. Some of you have not begun, but to kind of give you an idea of the whole applications process. So the first thing you'd want to do is to apply to WVU. Obviously, if you're a high school senior now, that application is open. You'd want to make sure that you select nursing on the application. From there, you're placed into one of those first-time freshman tracks based on, again, the ACT, SAT, Ts, things like that. The application, if you're a junior, will open on August 1st of 2023. So if you're a junior who's going to be a rising senior, that application to the university will open on August 1st. You'll want to make sure to send all of the documents so that way you can get credit. If you have any AP scores, IB, dual enrollment credit, things like that, you want to make sure you send those to us as well. If you've decided or you're leaning towards WVU, you want to pay your academic deposit. That is $150 for in-state, $250 for out-of-state. That basically just tells the university and the school that you plan to attend. Those funds will go towards your fall bill once you actually enroll into the university. Once you pay your academic deposit, that enables you to pay your housing deposit. I believe that amount is $225. And you are required to live on campus if you're outside of a commuting radius that the university has in place. And again, that's needed to kind of choose who your roommate might be, where you want to live, things like that. And then lastly, you want to make sure to register for new student orientation. That will take place in the spring of your senior year. So it's, I think, April-ish is when NSO registration opens. NSO takes place in the month of June, and this is where you'll schedule your classes and really finalize everything for the upcoming fall. You'll meet with your advisor to help kind of schedule classes and things like that too. And I also like to point out your advisor is going to be a great mentor and resource. Certainly utilize them throughout your time here at WVU or elsewhere. So I'd like to thank you all for attending this evening. This is my contact information. I'm a little bit younger looking in that photo that you have there. Since then, I've been married and had a kid, so it's aged me a little bit. But that is my office number that you see there. My email address is listed there on the School of Nursing webpage. You can find all of my information there too. We do have some social channels: Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube as well. Please feel free to follow for any content or just to ask information as well. So now I would like to begin our Q&A session for this. I certainly would encourage students to, unmute yourself if you have a question, turn on your video. If you'd like to kind of put a face to a name. If you don't feel comfortable doing that, you're more than welcome to put questions in the chat and we'll be happy to answer them. You can kind of see an example of our frequently asked questions page. There's a lots of FAQs that we have kind of worded like this. So for example, like I applied to the School of Nursing, but I received an acceptance for health and well-being. Why am I in this program when I applied for nursing? And it gives a response to basically kind of what we have talked about, based on where you're at in the application, or excuse me, what your ACT, SAT, GPA, that's how you're going to be placed into one of those freshman tracks. So I'm going to go ahead and stop recording here.